Hello everyone, welcome to another Balance Druid guide. So at the beginning of the season I did a simple Balance Druid overview. If you guys are curious about how to learn the basics of balance and you want to get just to grips with the spec, I'd go check out that video. Then come back, maybe check out this one. This one I want to, now that you sort of know more of how the class functions, I want to talk about some of the specifics that we're getting into. I've got a few clips to show of Mythic Plus content, but I did just recently kill Mythic Sticks with my guild, so if you're curious in sort of like a raid breakdown of how things are playing there, let me know, and I'll try and do some like more raid-centered stuff. I'm sure we'll see more raid boomies going forward with these single target buffs that I will get into in a moment. So we'll check that out, but yeah, that's the aim of this video, to kind of show off some stuff. If you guys are wanting a Mythic Sticks overview and stuff, let me know. And let's get into it. So, these are the changes coming through March 25th. March 25th is when this is aiming to be coming in. Tons of stuff has been tuned. Tons of stuff. Mega amounts of tuning. So, not Feral. Feral's not been touched, of course, because Feral's perfect. Why? Obviously it's perfect, because otherwise it would have tuning here. So, balance, which we were all happy about. So, Wrath is getting a 30% damage increase. Star Surge is getting a 5% damage increase. And then Elun's Chosen specifically, so in Mythic Plus, Lunar Calling increases Starfire's damage to its primary target by 160%. Was 100%. So, apparently this works out to something like a 7% single target gain. I don't know exactly how that'll be in like Mythic Plus comparable to, like, I don't know if that's 7% outside of Mythic Plus when you're playing Keeper of the Grove, or whether that's included with this Elun's Chosen. Yada yada, doesn't matter. All you need to know, single target going up. And that right now is probably Balance Druid's biggest weakness. You will note that Balance Druid is being played in very high dungeons. The highest dungeons in the world have Balance Druids in. So, Balance Druid is very good right now. The reason I think it's probably very good is because of your cooldowns and the way they function. Like, you're not a 2-minute class. You have 2 sets of cooldowns that last, what 1.7 minute recharge, right? So whilst everyone else is recharging on their 2 minutes, you have cooldowns available. There's some specs that have, like, you know, Ret Paladin has cooldowns for everything and flipping Unholy, but like those specs are also getting played, so that can be why. But yeah, I think that's probably a part of it. Also the AoE, like the extended AoE is very good when things are living a long time, and things need to live a very long time. So this is just like a nice single target gain. I think we can be very happy with that. I don't really think there's any other weaknesses to balance right now. I mean, its AoE is great. Its cooldown usage is great. Its split cleave is good. So like, yeah, I think the single target gain is going to be very beneficial, and should help out a lot. Now, I want to talk about a website really quick that I like to use when I'm learning new classes, new specs, and I just want to get to grips with some of the information. And this might just be, some of you guys have never used it before. So I'm just pointing this out for you, because you get a lot of people come in, hey, what stats do I want? What talents should I go? What this and that? What enchants? What craft? What blah, blah, blah. Murloc.io, I think, is a very good site, because what you can do is you can go on Raider.io and you can click on the #1 Balance Druid and you can see what they're playing. Some of the ancient Chinese tech, probably. But you can click on, like, the rank 1 Balance Druid and you get some information. But that might be just that they're doing something a little bit unique themselves. Murloc.io compiles the top 50 ranked players of that spec and then gives you their information. So you can see here, like, oh, there's a heavy weighting on Mastery and Haste. Okay, cool. Oh, what builds are we playing? Oh, okay. So every single player, if this is 50, that means every single player in the top 50 has this ability. If it's like 39, that means 39 out of the 50 have it, right? So it's showing you, like, okay, this seems to be very important for a lot of people, whereas that is way less important. So, you know, you can see everyone's playing Elune. You can see what gear most people are going for. So, like, a lot of people playing Signet, for example, and Blaziken Wax. Okay, cool. You know, so there's just things like that that are very helpful. You can see crafts, like what people are crafting, gemming, and all that kind of stuff. So, just like a very helpful website. I just wanted to give that to you guys because, just in case you've not seen it before, I think it's very nice to have. So, I was getting some comments on my previous video, and I thought I'd potentially answer some of them here. So, some people have been asking me things like, oh, how do I do single target on Balance Druid? My single target's not very good. Before these buffs, our single target wasn't very good. There were times when, if you maybe, like, stack double CR, incon, double incon for bosses, you could maybe pull out some okay single target, but generally, like, you weren't really doing great single target. It's now getting buffed, that's gonna be very beneficial, but people have been asking me, like, oh, why am I going in, I can't go into Solar Eclipse, how do I do single target, should I be Wrathing? You're Starfiring, and this is the talent why, Lunar Calling. So Starfire deals 100% increased damage to its primary target, but no longer triggers Solar Eclipse. So Starfire is now doing 100% increased damage. So Starfire is your single target generator. Like, that's your single target ability that you're looking to use. But yeah, this is like the build. This is everything you're going to be wanting to grab. There are a couple of talents which would, like, Astronomical Impact would be probably great to grab that, but we just don't have the talent points available. Also, Touch of the Cosmos and Hail of Stars. Again, like, if I show you Murloc IO, right, there are some people that are running Touch of the Cosmos and Hail of Stars. The issue, I think, is, like, you just don't have enough talent points, and there are a couple good options for, like, AoE here, right? Because you can get these free Starfalls, which just means more Starfalls. And you could, with that procs your Solstice, right? So procs your Solstice up here, which means you have more chance of, like, shooting stars and stuff, and then those shooting stars give you astral power. So there's, like, this nice knock-on effect, this nice positive feedback loop of, like, getting more power, astral power, more AoE and stuff. But a lot of people are opting for things like Soul of the Forest, which is going to increase your Starfire damage when you're on multiple targets, which is really nice. Gives you, like, more... That's kind of technically funnel. I wouldn't say it's fantastic funnel, but it's technically funnel. So there's some things there that you'd want to be looking at. Like, this is why you're sort of locked into... Like, there is clearly some room for movement, but... yeah, you're probably looking at things like Soul and Umbral Intensity and this and that. Whereas some people grab and touch and hail. That might be something you might want to consider. Maybe check it out. But yeah, I want to show you guys those things. There's not too much else I wanted to show you discussing about talents right now. Some people asking about, like, New Moon. When should I run New Moon? You don't. You run Fury of Elune. It does more single target, and then it will do, like, AoE pulsing when it ends. If you wanted... I don't know. I don't see where you'd be running, like, New Moon personally. I think... For, like, single target, for Rage, you're going Keeper of the Grove, and then you're not going Full Moon anyway. So, yeah, you're, like, putting the points in Denizen and Goldred and stuff, so, like, you don't have those points that you're putting in New Moon anyway. So, yeah. Yeah, because a couple of those points got to come here to get you that single target damage. So, like, if I show you a pure single target build, you can see these have dropped off. You're running Convoke instead of Incon, getting your Power of Goldrin, getting your Denizen of the Dream and stuff. So, like, things drop off a little bit there. But yeah, cool. Anyway, want to show you guys that stuff. So, now let's get into some actual gameplay. So, I just want to show you guys a couple, like, setups, and then talk to you through, like, what I'm looking to achieve, what I'm doing. So, this is a 13 Priory that we actually almost 2-chested, which is great. So we're about to lead into a big pull, and I've got all my cooldowns available. Incon's about to be up, Elune's about to be up, Warrior of Elune's about to be up as well. So we're going to go into this pull. I don't have a Sundered Firmament, but, you know, it is what it is. So we're going to go into this pull. Tank's going to start setting up. So the way I'm trying to do things is I want to dot everything up with Moonfire. Once everything is finally stacked, then I want to do one Sunfire. What that's going to achieve is your dots are on everything, which is fantastic. And then you can sort of get into your rotation. Then you can pop your cooldowns once everything has your dots on it. But you also want to be in your Eclipse state. So what I will do is, as the tank is setting up, I will double Wrath, which will put me in my Eclipse state. And then I will start dotting with Moonfire. So I'm going to double Wrath here on the primary target. Now, I'm capped on Astral Power. Like, it's one of the most awkward situations I find, is when I'm going into combat, I'm at max Astral Power, I'm not in an Eclipse state, and I have, like, Fury of Elune available, and I'm like, I want to use everything right now, and I need to, like, get the order correctly. So, yeah, that's one of those awkward situations, but my priority is go into Eclipse state first and foremost. Always get into Eclipse state. Do not be out of your Eclipse state if you can help it. So that's the priority. Then if I'm capping on Astral Power, I'll just send Starfalls. And then I'm just moonfiring on everything. So that's what this is going to look like. I'm like just targeting around, getting into a nice like stacked up position, opening my bags for some reason. Now everything's more or less dotted up to my like happiness, to my state of happiness here, like, or level of happiness. Everything's pretty much dotted up. I will say, playing Boomy is really awkward with frames. Like, I need a better way personally. That's something that I'm trying to improve on, is getting better frames for this. But I dot everything up mostly with Moonfire here. Just like targeting new mobs that don't have Moonfire, selecting them manually, and then Moonfiring them. Doing one big Sunfire. Then I'm going into my Incon. And I'm gonna Incon, Elune, and Warrior of Elune all at once. So you're gonna see that. And then I'm just Starfalling. I'm Starfalling until I'm like low Astral. Then I'm Starfiring, Starfall. Sunfiring, Starfall. And I'm just doing that. And you'll see, because things are living a decent amount of time, I'm actually getting some good damage here. Now, I'm leaving my Eclipse state. I'm at max Astral Power. So I'm going to spend a little bit, like, I don't like being capped. And I'm generating so much Astral Power that I don't know, some people might like go into their Eclipse and then spend the Astral Power, but for me, I like to just not be capped. So I'll spend a little bit of resource there, then I'll double Wrath, put me back into the Lunar Eclipse, start Starfalling again, use my Fury of Elune on the primary target, and then I'm just Starfiring and Starfalling. And like, that's it. That is, if you can do that, if you can enter into your Eclipse, if you can dot everything up with Moonfire, do one big Sunfire when everything's stacked, spend your your Astral Power on Starfalling, you're golden. And then once everything's stacked up, then you can go into your cooldown window. Now, the like, a couple of things I want to talk about is, and you can see that like I do some decent damage, like I do all right there, so you know, can't complain. There are maybe some like niche scenarios where if we actually just watch through a bit of a key, then I think that could be nice to just see, like, going pack to pack how things are gonna look, right? Because I think what's nice is, I think in a lot of guides, people show you a one-off situation, like the ideal scenario, and then you're like, okay, cool, well, a lot of the time I'm not in that perfect scenario, so what am I doing then? What am I doing when I'm outside of this perfect window? And so that's what we're going to look at here. So let's just like talk through. So we're going to set up here. I'm making sure not to pull any aggro, so I'm just staying in stealth. Double Wrath, go into Luna. Start Moonfiring everything up. Stacking up because these mobs jump to targets. Everything's stacked up. I can send a Sunfire. And then I'm just sending my cooldowns here. So I Incon, Warrior of Elune, Fury of Elune. And then I'm just Starfiring. Everything's golden here. We're looking good. Now, Fury of Elune, you'll see, I've just used it. Again, this might be for the newer players who are unaware. Fury of Elune is going to be your one cooldown that is going to have a massively reduced cooldown by you just playing the game. So I believe it's all of your astral abilities are gonna reduce. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, your arcane abilities reduce your cooldown of Fury of Elune by 2 seconds. So, all of your arcane spells are going to do that. So that's going to be your Starfire and your Star Surge and Starfall. All going to just be reducing the cooldown of Fury of Elune. So you can see as I'm like generating and spending, my Fury of Elune is just ticking down. So ideally what I'm looking to do with Fury of Elune is get it off cooldown, enter into a new Eclipse state, and then use it. Because of your Balance of All Things. So Balance of All Things, if you're unaware, is this talent here. Entering an Eclipse state increases your crit strike with Arcane or Nature spells by 20% and then decreases over time. So I can guarantee some like big crits here if I'm looking to do my Fury of Elune with a fresh Eclipse. Now, okay, is this going to be a good example to show you as well? So we're leaving combat now. These mobs are pretty much dead. My Eclipse state is about to be over. But let's imagine that my Eclipse was over already. it was at 0 seconds now, and I'd have this call of like, okay, I can double Wrath here because I want to enter into Eclipse state. But these mobs are so unhealthy. They're so lethargic right now. They're going to be dead. So if I was to enter into a new Eclipse, two things would happen. A, I'd just be wasting going that Eclipse, and then we might enter new combat, and I don't have balance of all things, which would be awkward. But also, you can see up here this icon, and yes, this is how I do track my Sundered Firmament. I do look top right. But Sundered Firmament here is something that you want to be tracking, so that when you're leaving combat, you don't enter into an Eclipse state if you know you're going to get the Sundered Firmament, right? Now, what is Sundered Firmament? Sundered Firmament is here on the talent tree. Every other Eclipse creates a Fury of Elune at 25% effectiveness that follows your current target for 8 seconds. Okay, seems okay. Why would I care about that? Well, because of your Elunes chosen, your Fury of Elunes are going to explode in AoE when they conclude. So, if I consider that when I go into a new set of combat, I can enter into an Eclipse and immediately spawn a Fury of Elune that's then going to explode, that's way better than proccing it here when these mobs are about to die and then it just wasted, being fully wasted. So I purposefully here, you can actually see, yeah, I purposefully here just keep starfiring, and I retain some of my astral power. I don't just spend all my astral power, right? I retain some of it. So I'm going to be here at like 100 astral power, so I can go into a new set of combat with like a lot of power here. I've got my firmament, I've got some astral power ready to go. So I've got another set of cooldowns here available as well. Warrior of Elune, I think, is definitely worth talking about. Warrior of Elune is your 45-second CD. Now, you just don't want to hold this. And there are times when you're like, well, okay, I'm going to hold this for a few seconds because I'm about to go into a cooldown window. Right now, this is what I did. I set up, I'm holding Warrior of Elune for a second because I'm about to go into Incon, Fury of Elune, Warrior of Elune. About to do all that. And that's what I'm doing here. And I'm prior targeting, by the way, the Sergeant here. Prior targeting this lady because, again, your Starfire is doing primary target damage, and that's about to increase. It's about to get buffed. So that's going to be even more important for you to be focusing that primary target that needs to die because they have more health than all the mobs around them. But, yeah, so I'll hold off on using Warrior of Elune because I'm just about to set up, and then I can look to use. Now, I don't like being on 0 Incons in general. It depends on the pull. If it's a really nice big pull, then I'll just send. But generally, I'll try and like enter a boss maybe with 2 Incons if I can. If it's like a real scary boss that I'm a little bit afraid of that we might wipe on. So here, this is a decent sized pull. So I'm slamming my cooldowns here. Like I'm slamming an Incon, that's fine. And again, Warrior of Elune, Fury of Elune, like everything's just gelling right now. Everything's just lining up really nicely. And we're just trading combat to combat, and I've got all my stuff. But now we're about to enter that point in the key where I don't have a whole lot, right? So, let's see how things go here. Like, I'm out of Incons now. I'm going to have Warrior of Elune coming up in 15 seconds, and then I've got an Incon available. And it's a case of like, well, do I hold my Warrior of Elune for 20 seconds because my Incon's going to come up? Well, no, because you've got 2 sets of Incons. So always go, I think, by the lowest cooldown, right? Like, you want to make sure that when you use your big cooldown, you have all your little cooldowns. But you want to make sure you're using your little cooldowns when you don't have your big cooldown. Does that make sense? You want to make sure everything's going to line up when the time comes. But, like, right now, okay, I should have used... I mean, let me look at the timing of this. So Warrior of Elune's up. I mean, I can't use it yet. What I could have probably... What you can do, and actually this is probably a nice optimization. When you use Warrior of Elune, you actually have like 30 seconds to use all the charges. So what I could have done is I could have procced my Warrior of Elune. And this is probably a gamer move here. Use my Warrior of Elune. It's starting to tick down, but the cooldown's going to begin. And then when I'm setting up, I mean, I'm going to be double wrathing. Then I'm going to be dotting, then starfalling. So I'm not actually using those charges. Then when I'm ready to use the charges, fantastic. And my Warrior of Elune's already on CD. So that's what I should have done. And again, this is where being a better, like when I'm a better Boomy, that's the kind of stuff I will be doing. Because right now we're in a situation where it's not worth using Warrior of Elune because your Incon's up in 10 seconds. And you're going to want Warrior of Elune with your Incon. So had I used my Warrior of Elune earlier, then I would have been, everything would have been fine here. But now I'm in that awkward situation where I don't want to incon with no Warrior Balloon. And that is, I'll be honest, I'll hold my hand up, that is something I do sometimes, where I'll incon and Warrior Balloon's coming up in like 5 seconds, and I'm like, ah, shit. But you're then sort of in that struggle where you're like, well, if I don't incon now, the pack's gonna die, and then my cooldowns are gonna be sort of wasted. So like, I either need to hold, or I need to just full commit here without the Warrior Balloon. But, I mean, things kind of sort of line up here. I'd maybe miss like half of a Warrior Balloon. But then you look at that across the course of a whole key, it adds up. So hopefully that's like some, I don't know, some things to think about, lessons, whatever. So, again, here I've got Firmament. I don't think I'm going to enter a new Eclipse here. I'm going to use one Wrath. I'm just going to wait. Now we pull a new pack. Now I can go into that Eclipse. I can start darting everything up. But this is like, that's it. That's sort of the situation. I mean, is there like a boss maybe I can jump to? Maybe I can jump to like, this third boss would be good, I think. Where is the little blighter? Yeah. Let me jump ahead. Okay, so let's just see like how I'm doing this boss. Okay, so I've got one Incon, I've got Fury Balloon coming up, and I've got Warrior Balloon. Cool. I've got max Astral Power. Looking good. Let's just see how we go here. This boss got quite a bit of movement as well. So that's something to consider. So I go into, so I'm capped on Astral Power, so I Wrath, and then I immediately Star Surge, and then I dot things up, just because I don't want to be capped on Astral Power. Then I'll dot everything up. Make sure that I'm entering my, this was my biggest sort of weakness, like when I was learning, and something that I do still mess up sometimes. Again, I'm happy to hold my hand up and say I don't play perfectly, like, absolutely not. But I will go into Incons with no Astral Power, which is really bad. And I think that's one of the big challenges of Balanced Druid. I do actually think that's where the complexity comes in. People say it's a very simple spec, and I agree, except your your builder spender spec, and your build, the rate at which you build your resource depends on the amount of mobs you're fighting. So it's hard to, you get a feeling of like, you get into a rhythm. It's like being on a treadmill that's got a skip. You know, where like, it's smooth, oh, and you double step, and you sort of catch yourself. That's how it feels sometimes, where you're like, you're so used to having tons of Astral Power in AoE, you then go into single target, and you think, oh, that's okay, I can spend a little bit of Astral Power here before I go into my cooldown. Oh, no, my Astral Power's gone. So, that's something to like be considering, I would say. Is just making sure that you're going into your Incon with Astral Power available, so that you can just immediately do a few Star Surges. I think I actually just messed that up here a second ago. Yeah, so I'm going to come into... Let's see how I do this. So, speaking of that... And again, looking at my overall's, like, great. We're doing 5 million overall right now. That's great. I think the mage is getting PI'd or whatever, so, like, that's great. I think my damage looks good right now. So, yeah, I'm gonna... Okay, so I Incon at 74 Astral. I think that's not too bad. And then I instantly jump up to like 90. Yeah, I think that's fine. Because I Fury Balloon. So that one was fine. But it does happen sometimes. But yeah, like, you know, you can make a few little tweaks here to your gameplay. I'm definitely not playing this perfectly. There's definitely more room, more damage I could extract from this. And yet, like, my overall looks pretty solid, you know? So yeah, I mean, I'm actually top in the single target right now, which I'm surprised about. I mean, Balance is going to be looking absolutely fantastic when we get these single target buffs. Blizzard tunes for the raid, and Balance right now is looking really poor in the raid, like single target wise. So, yeah, we're going to be looking good. If you don't know, I've been playing Feral and Balance this season. I'm currently 3.2k Feral and 3k Balance. So I'm actually like pushing on both. And we'll see how that goes for the rest of the season. I don't expect to be like a top rank booby because I'm not going to be playing it full time and be playing it as my ult spec. But we'll see how we go. I am liking these new resilient changes with like the keys not being able to deplete. I think that's nice. But yeah, that's just how I'm looking to do things. So okay, so now we're in the situation where it's like, I've got an Incon coming up. I don't know if this is even going to come up before the boss is dead. Yeah, definitely. Like, let's say my Incon had come up right now, I would hold it. Again, the beauty of Balance right now, and I think it's specialty that we should really be appreciating, is the fact that you have 2 sets of cooldowns. So as you've got one cooldown available, your second one is still recharging. And so you don't have to rush your cooldowns. I know playing balance before, it was like a 3-minute spec, and you felt like if you were holding your cooldowns, you were just hard into your key, you just had to send, and sometimes it just didn't line up, or the key, like, the mobs were dying too quick, or whatever. It just felt really, really bad. But now, it just feels fantastic to be in a situation where you've just got cooldowns available whenever you want them, and you don't have to hold them. Right, I was going to show you guys, just to start, one last little thing. I was going to show you guys another situation where mobs are dying very, very quickly. This is a 14, but imagine you were doing like a +7 or something, you're playing Boomy, getting into Boomy, and like, you're like, man, I'm doing like no damage. Well, you're in a scenario where there's maybe a dungeon, DFC for example, where things just die so quickly. So you're going to see here, I spent all this time moonfiring everything up, and then watch how quickly everything dies, and I go, what was the point? And I think in lower level keys, sometimes when you have these mobs that just are going to die very quickly, it's not even worth dotting them all up. And instead, you should just do a lot of Starfire and Starfall damage. And then just dot your primary, like, high health primary targets. And then just let everything, whatever, everything else is going to die to the Ret Paladin. Because look how quickly everything dies. And, like, it wasn't even worth me dotting everything up because they didn't even get a, like, they didn't even get a full tick on their dots. Last thing I want to drive home for you guys is I just want to mention, with the 4 set, how important it is. Like, how important it is to be running Wild Mushroom. Like, the 4 set is all about Wild Mushroom, and the reason this is so important is because we're putting 2 dots on targets. We're putting Sunfire, we're putting Moonfire. And Waning Twilight here is a talent that when you have 3 periodic effects on your target, your damage is increased by 6%, which is nuts. And you're getting that from the Wild Mushroom. So this is just like very important to consider, and like when you see those mushrooms, like you know you're going to be doing that increased damage. When you incon, you're going to have guaranteed mushrooms, so wait for everything to be stacked and then be targeting a mob that is like in the center of everything. You're going to get a good mushroom explosion. Yeah, that's just like a nice thing to make sure that you have in your mind. But yeah, this is like a long video. I just wanted to kind of put some thoughts together on balance here for you guys and just talk through some things. Hopefully this has been nice and shown some gameplay. Enjoy the new balance buffs, and yeah, let me know like what other stuff you guys want to see going forward in the future from other videos, and I'm gonna love you and leave you. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.